Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I've got something a little different here for you. Going into Arthurian Legends, I think it would be really interesting to go over where the avatars and some of the top minions and spells stand going into Arthurian Legends, and if I think they're going to do well or get better or get worse going into Arthurian Legends. I'm not going to talk about any of the spoilers. This is just going to be alpha beta set. I'll grab the top 20 or so from each elements and then give you my thoughts on those, and I'll try to make it brief. Just to start out here, we'll start with the avatars. Avatar of Air. I feel like Avatar of Air is just going to get even better with more air sights, with more air minions. Maybe you can even splash it like a fire that's kind of being played with right now. I think Avatar of Air is really well positioned, and it's already a really, really good deck. Avatar of Earth. I'm very partial to Avatar of Earth. I think it will get better with the tricolor lands because you really don't want non-Earth sites. And then if you can like have a third color and maybe air. So I think Avatar of Earth is going to get better. I don't know if it's going to be S tier, but it's still a very, very good deck. Avatar of Fire. The ability you have to tap to use, and it doesn't have any innate card draw. It doesn't have any innate movement. You get an extra bolts or fireballs, but it's not really enough. Avatar of Water has some movement, so maybe with some new water sites, she'll get a little bit better. Battle Mage, I think is an A tier deck right now. Maybe, yeah. Just because you can really be aggressive with the water, air stuff. Going into Arthurian Legends, I think it's probably going to get a little rough, especially with the witch running around. But maybe we'll put that in B tier because I think it's going to have a hard time going into Arthurian Legends. Death Speaker, straight up into the S tier. The more Genesis effects you get with Death Speaker, the better it's going to be. Elementalist. I'm going to maybe move this here in a second, but playing against Adam or Mothra, the Elementalist control list that's running around that's mostly water and then has Island Leviathans to finish it off with the really good water controls that's being spoiled. I think Elementalist might be an A tier deck to something to be looking out for. Enchantress, I think it's a C tier deck right now. With the new mulligan rule, you really need a mulligan like 4 or 5 cards for each individual matchup because each matchup is so dependent on what you need. Enchantress is kind of in a rough spot right now. Flamecaller. I think Flamecaller is a better Avatar of Fire. You don't have to tap to use a card and change it into something else. Flamecaller gets innate value just from your minions dying. I think Flamecaller should be allowed to choose either your cemetery or your opponent's cemetery, and I think that'd be kind of cool, and maybe a little buff to Flamecaller. But going into Arthurian Legends, I think the Flamecaller is going to get a little bit better with different fire minions that are going to be spoiled and running around, and the more fire threshold, the more better. Geomancer, I think it has that early card draw that's so good. And it's won two of the big events. So I think it's an S tier deck. And with the new Earth sites and new Earth minions, I think Geomancer will get even better. Pathfinder. Pathfinder's I really want Pathfinder to be really good, but maybe top of B tier. Pathfinder's. Oh, I guess with the new sites, I'm gonna go up A tier. Pathfinder's early card advantage is really good, but you have to have some way to really make use of that. Zac attack plays really good with Pathfinder. I don't know. Pathfinder is in a weird spot. It seems really good, but not a lot of people play it, so who knows? Seer. Seer's Ragnarok is going to get better. It's going to get better. Roots of Yggdrasil will get even more consistent. It will have better minions. It'd be real good. Sorcerer, I think, is top of A tier. It hasn't, it's really good. But you don't get the ability right away. You get it after turn 4 or 5, which is fine. But like the S tier ones, you get Seers turn 1, you get Avatar of Air maybe turn 2, Death Speaker. It takes a minute, but you get so much innate value off of it. Geomancer, you start feeling Rubbles turn 1. This is like where I feel like the S tier avatars are, is like when you get their effect immediately. And Sorcerer, you kind of have to wait. Spark Mage, I think there's a good Spark Mage deck running around, and I think it's going to be similar to Avatar of Air, where the better the cards get, the better the Spark Mage will get. And then Wave Shaper, I'm going to put down here in D tier, maybe C tier, bottom of C tier. Wave Shaper doesn't have any card draw, or its effect you have to tap and use. The effect is really strong. You can log down on a board, but you have to really build properly and create a funnel for your opponents to come in and attack you. But I feel like Wave Shaper is just too easy to play around. All right, moving on to Air here. We got Apprentice Wizard, A tier. Really good in Death Speaker and card draw, especially with Geistwood and like getting more Genesis effects. So you kind of like really benefit from that Genesis effect. Like it's you could draw a spell, but you kind of replaces itself, which is good. I don't know. Apprentice Wizard is pretty good. Blink is S tier, I think. The movement and replacing itself, you get almost a free movement, and only costs you 2 mana. It's very good. Monks, God, I hate Monks. Monks goes in D tier. It's so unfun to play against, especially in a Crave Golem combo deck. Screw Monks. It's gonna get better. But Chain Lightning, B tier. It's exceptional. You can't tutor it. It's a really good finisher, but it's a little awkward. Vampire, be A tier. If you get it to stick and kill something and gain life, that's really good. Flanking maneuver, A tier. You can teleport wherever you want, get them off of spiders and any number of allies is very strong. Grandmaster Wizard, I think, is S tier. The ability to draw 3 cards, and then Death Speaker on Death's Door, or you're on Geistwood and you sacrifice it. It's so good. Grapple Shot is a unique common ordinary, maybe elite. The strike and then you get an attack is a little overpowered. Grim Reaper is a really good body, or really good effect, but a weak body. Top of B tier. Hippogriffs, A tier. You come down, do something. Headless Haunt. I hate Haunt. I feel like it's less than 50% of the time it does anything. Highland Falconer, A tier. Maybe S tier. The ability to split up your power is really strong. Highland Princess, the tutor is going to get better with a better card pool. It's very strong. It's top of A tier. Lightning Bolt is a primo 2 power or 2 mana, 3 damage something. Men of Lang, B tier. The effect is very strong, but you have to put work in to get it. Mortality, I think, is going to get so much better with all the mortals running around, so watch out for Mortality. Nimishjin is a really strong combo piece. Phase Assassin, I'm going to go top of B tier. Could go the bottom of A. Kind of goes along with Pegasus. The 3 mana for 3, especially in air, you can play it into a tower. It's very strong. Skirmish just Moo. I'm going to go C tier. The 3 toughness, it dies really easily, and it's a huge threat. Summoning Sphere is going to get better with more minions and more Genesis effects. Thunderstorm, probably A tier. It's just so much damage. And then Whirling Blades can be a huge blowout, top of B tier. It's a higher cost, so maybe you only want to play 1 or 2 of them. But you can really blow game open and like get a 2-for-1 with Whirling Blades. Starting here with Fire, I went a little happy with the number of picks, but we'll burn through them. Ancient Dragon is a really cool card, but it's too expensive, and 3 threshold is kind of a big cost. Eremos Mercenaries can be really good. You really have to benefit from making them your second spell turn 3 to really like start overwhelming your opponent, and very swarm mentality. Like turn 1 or 2 play a summoning spear, turn 3 play a 3-drop, and then play Amorous Mercenaries as another 3-drop. Then your opponent can't really stabilize, and maybe they remove 1 minion, but then you still have 1 left over. Bane Widow is okay. The Genesis effect is really good, but you have to really benefit from a multiple Genesis effects to make Bane Widow worth it. Blaze is really strong, the incidental damage and movement it has. Boil, in the right deck, I feel like can really get people, but you have to have some way to flood, or it's a little situational. It's probably worse than Bane Widow. Cerberus and Chains, it kind of, you gotta have an avatar that's going to be aggressive. If you play a minion on your avatar and then it just sits on your avatar, what do you do? You're not being aggressive with it. You're not being proactive. Dragonets are really good in that extra ping it can have to use, like in a Kobolds to kill a 3 power minion, or it can be also a kill spell. Cone of Flame is a great magic spell. It can really clear boards. If you see a Cone of Flame in limited, that's a really, really good one, because there's a lot of 2 and 3 power minions running around. It can wipe a lot of board areas. Quarters and Thias, I feel like it's just good going into Arthurian Legends. There will be game plans going into Arthurian Legends, so Quarters and Thias can really mess with those. Death Dealer is a really good minion. The effect is great. The 7 cost is kind of high, so you kind of have to wait to use it. If you can multiple Death Dealers, like if you're Death Speaker and you can Death Dealer for free or something, that's really good. Brought Far East Assassin in here. Right now, it's kind of not a great minion, just because that 2 power does die to Firebolts and Thunderbolts and Violence, and it just kind of dies. But the stealth is pretty good. Fireball is fine. Rather be playing Firebolts coming up here. Fireball being at 4 mana, dealing 4 is on rate, but it's not really enough to do high impact plays. Firebolts, probably S tier. The 2 mana for 3 damage spread about 3 different projectiles gives a lot of flexibility and can be really good. Poltergeist, I brought it in here to kind of be like also the Far East Assassin. Going into Arthurian Legends, I think there are going to be some cool artifacts, so maybe these get better. Heat Ray, I feel like, is the best finisher in the game. It's common sensible. You can just position yourself very easily to be in line with somebody. Pathfinder gets a little weird. Incinerate, it's 5 power for 4 damage, or 5 mana for 4 damage. So you're losing out on like the Firebolt's efficiency. Maybe this gets better with the Dragon set, and you can just start like pinging 4 damage everywhere. Infernal Legion can win games by itself. It comes down, does a thing, and it can really mess up a board state. Infiltrate, S tier. Yeah, you can remove stealth, but it requires your opponent to do some work. But it can be a huge blowout and a huge win. Jihad, S tier, fire aura. A lot of fire minions like Infernal Legion, Pashojan Cavalry, Kobolds, these all want to be up in your opponent's business, so Jihad is really good with the +1 power. Salamander maybe gets better in Arthurian Legends with more fire spells. Leap Attack is pretty good. The 4 mana is a bit of a cost, but if you can Leap Attack like an aura off of an Enchantress animation, man, that's just punishing. Major Explosion, I feel like, is slightly better than Cone of Flame, but the 7 cost is still pretty big. I think it does kill 90% of everything. I think there's some big Earth minions that it doesn't kill. I brought in Ogre Goons here. Probably high B tier. Yeah. Mostly for limited. Limited, you just want bodies, 3 power bodies. If you get all of those, you'll be fine. Outback Strider is better than Ogre and Airmost Mercenaries. That free movement it has, it can defend almost anywhere. It can kind of come in as a chump block remover if at the end game you're trying to like figure out a way to get into death's door. Precision Cavalry, it comes down, does a thing. You get value out of it immediately. It kills something cool. It trades fine, deals damage even better. Pit Vipers, situationally, is really good with the popular roots. They blow roots. You play a site, you play Pit Vipers, and you can save a turn and try to rebuild. Poison Nova, if you get a 2 or 3 for 1 with Poison Nova, it's really, really good. It's a board wipe 90% of the time. Kobolds is another just good fire minion, along with Violent. Just these two are so good, especially plus Jihad. Or any pump effect like with Trinket or what have you. Kobolds can really mess somebody up. Scarabs can be really strong. The 1 power does mean they die to deserts really easily, but the ability to remove a 4 power minion for 2 mana is very strong. Sandworm is a really good body. It doesn't die easily. It's immune to burrowing, so Sandworm is, I think, an underplayed minion as well. Scavenging Fiend, I'm going to put in B tier right now. Right now there's some artifact synergy stuff, but going into Arthurian Legends, there'll be some cool artifacts you want to use multiple times. Scorched Earth, I'm going to put in high C tier. You can Scorched Earth your bedrocks, or if you're Pathfinder, like remove some invulnerable sites and maybe remove some minions. But situationally, it's really good. Swiven Scout, I'm putting up here in an A tier. It doesn't get played a lot just because it dies to kobolds and just chip damage. But the ability to see your opponent's hands and know what they're going to do is very, very good. Pilgrim is a cheap, not a Grandmaster Wizard, Apprentice Wizard. And especially if you're in Death Speaker and using that again, sometimes that extra mana does make a difference. And then I'm going to put Wildfire here in S tier. Wildfire is a great aura, especially in Enchantress, but also just in fire builds. It can start removing minions. It just stays around for so long. It does a lot. Wildfire is really good. All right, Earth, we're starting out with Amazon Warriors. She, maybe a B tier. She's a minion. She's a really good minion. But that's all she is. She's a good post-roots play, but like something like our Autumn Unicorn or Boss Troll has a little extra bonus to it. But moving on to Assorted Animals, I think Assorted Animals is this A or B tier. I'm gonna go with A, because going into Arthurian Legends, I bet we get some cool beasts, and tutors will just get better with better card pools. Atlas Wanderers, I'll put in B tier as well. Just because it's a 5 for 5, and you get an extra little bonus, so maybe it's on the other side of Amazon Warriors, but really, you need some way to benefit from the Genesis effect for it to be really good. Autumn Unicorn, I'm going to put in A tier. The 4 power really helps prevent it dying too easily from like a Violet plus Desert or Kobolds or what have you, or a Firebolt. There's a lot of 3 damage spells, so that 4th toughness is really strong. Boss Troll, speaking of the toughness, dies really easily still, like with Autumn Unicorn or Violent plus Desert or Firebolts or Lightning Bolt. Boss Troll dies really easily. Barry, I think, is still S tier. It will continue to be good. There will continue to be really big threats you got to deal with. Might get a little sketchy with some of the 3-color threshold sites, like if they just have incidental water, it gets a little annoying, but Barry's still very good. Call to War, I think, will be better than Assorted Animals, but still very good. 2 mana, go get a really good mortal. Arthurian Legends is full of mortals. Tutors get better with better card pools. Common Sense, it will still be S tier. There will be more good common cards to go get, or ordinary cards, sorry. Common sense and ordering. It messes with my head. But Crater Eyes will still be a good finisher, but it's a high cost spell, and really to get to 8 mana, you're really playing a long game, and right now Sorcery is very aggressive, so Crater Eyes is a lot of damage, but also kind of high cost. Crusade, we'll put it in A tier. Like, it's really good, but a lot of Earth decks right now don't want to be playing a 2-drop aura. Then you play a minion. A lot of so you play Crusade and then play a 3 or 4-drop. And a lot of Earth minions don't have a really good Genesis effect where it really matters for them to be on your opponent's site, like Fire has Kobolds and Imps and whatnot. Phalanx, I hate Phalanx so much. The movement restriction really hurts them. You really need to pair them with a lot of movement spells to like negate that. I have kind of like Slumbering Giantess. Like, you get a well-costed minion, but you have to put in work for it, and that just seems not great. Earthquake, it will still be an S tier removal spell. There will still be things to kill. Rearranging sites will always be good. Entangled Terrain, I'm going to go B tier. It is sneaky good, especially in a Battle Mage or Earth deck, or Avatar of Earth deck, or even just removing a blocker for like a Cavalry hit or something like that. Entangled Terrain is very strong. I think Settlers will become a really good turn 2 play and or a rebuild after Roots, so that's why I'm going to put it in A tier. Right now, it's probably run like a C tier card, but I think it's going to be really good. Gigantism, I'm going to... bottom of B tier, maybe top of C tier. Gigantism can really swing games, but sometimes you just need a minion to put on board. But Bannerman, like top of B tier. The +1 power, especially with the new power toughness split, maybe it gets different. I'm not sure. I think Bannerman's kind of in a weird spot as well. The 4 power, or 4 cost for 2 power, it dies to Imps and Lightning Bolts, and it just dies really easily. So that's why I kind of like it in the boss troll area. King of the Realm, what's up? Put him in the A tier. I think right now he's a C tier, but going into Arthurian Legends, I think he's going to be really good with all the mortals running around. Now, he is 7 costs, and kind of the same thing to Crater Rise's point. When you starting to get up there, you got to put a lot of resources in to get there. And King of the Realm really needs to like win you the game, but with everybody probably playing a lot of mortals, King of the Realm will be really, really good. Land Surveyor, I think, is still going to be an S tier card. It comes down, chunks blocks, it saves you some damage, it draws you a card. Land Surveyor is very strong. Pudge Butcher, I think it's going to be top of A tier, not quite S tier just because it dies so easily. And you can kind of play around it, but the ability it has to attack and grab your opponent and really hurt is very strong. Root Spider is still going to be S tier. There will still be Earth Sites running around, and it's the best minion in the game. Royal Bodyguard, middle of A tier. It's a good body. It's got 4 toughness, so it doesn't die easily. Its effect is very strong, can save you the game, and with the prevalence of mortals and mortal payoffs, it seems pretty good. Slumbering Giantess, I'm going to put the bottom of B tier. You got to put work into her to get her to like really pop off, so it's a little awkward. And then she dies really easily. Well, not dies easily, but you have to put extra work into her. She's just not a free minion. And sometimes you draw a Slumbering Giantess late game, and, well, you got a sleepy minion. It's almost a dead card. Stonegaze Gordons, middle of B tier. The 3 toughness, it dies to lightning bolts and fire bolts. But the pseudo root spider ability is still very strong. But the minions at rest clause doesn't prevent blockers, so Vanguard Knights, it's better. They're better than Phalanx, but still kind of weird because you still have to put in work for them to be for this unit. You need to play movement spells with them, so sometimes you kind of have to like position really well, so they're not a free minion in the sense like a root spider is just really good, or autumn unicorn is just a 4 power minion. But Rutanus Titan is really good in like Death Speakers and Summoning Sphere decks. It's a finishing card, so there's probably going to be better finishers. So I'm going to put her at the bottom of B tier. Divine Healing, the 1 cost is really, really strong. The 3 threshold, you really have to be heavy earth, but man, it could save you games. It can swing everything. Moving to Dispel, I think Dispel will be middle of the pack A tier. Like, there's going to be a lot of more artifacts that need to be destroyed, and so kind of the same thing with Disenchant. But that's what I think where Earth stands. Alright, moving on to Water. Start with Adept Illusionist. I think solid B tier. A lot of the issues with Water is all their minions are 2 power, so they just die to everything. Water really needs some beef, some 3 and 4 non-downside minions to be a little bit better. But Adept Illusionist, the ability to go get and like keep trading back and forth and always have this thing is very strong. Land into Fate is the best. I know I said Wildfire is the best aura. Land into Fate's the best aura. That's my bad. Bridge Troll, C tier in a Mask of Mayhem, kind of like force you to attack my deck. Bridge Troll is really good, but it's very situational. Kraken is a big old beater, but 8 mana, so C tier. Dodge Roll has to be said. It's the only quick magic in the game, so it can really get people. But really, it's a card disadvantage. If they attack your minion and you use Dodge Roll, you're still down a card if you think about it like that. But you saved your minion, so I don't know. Fey Changeling is really, really good. The ability to get something out of the way, and it's a huge tempo swing. Flood is fine. Flood, like, maybe with giant sharks, and maybe it gets better, but it doesn't do enough for 4 mana. Ghost Ship is really strong in a Spirits list, but 6 cost. Yeah, I guess you get there. Ghost Ship is maybe gets better, and maybe with the Spirits being released, we'll put it in A tier. Giant Shark is top of B tier, bottom A tier. It's just an awkward minion. It's so strong if you can like Riptide and pull them in, but it really prevents you from playing stuff, so it's just a nightmare. Great Old One, bottom of A tier. If you can ramp into this with a mix or something, my goodness, you should win that game. Ice Lance, D tier. They really need to fix Ice Lance. Lord of Unland, for maybe top of C tier. Maybe just because you have to be in a body of water, it's a little rough. Mariner's Curse is, I think, much better than I ever thought it was. Riptide, it's a huge control piece. It feels weird to spend Dispel on it, but Mariner's Curse is very strong. Pirate Ship, B tier. No, this is the water bound is so hard. Like I said in the beginning, water needs some minions that don't have a downside and that have some power to them. Polar Explorers, the ability to move is really strong, but that two power is just rough. Polymorph is a pretty good removal spell. Be careful with polymorphing somebody's minion and then playing a Mariner's Curse. Polymorph can just, or the frog can just keep bouncing Mariner's Curse. Pufferfish, B tier. It's good post roots if you're playing water. It's really good locked defender, but I think Replication gets a lot better going into Arthurian Legends. Copying some cool artifacts seems really, really good. Ruler Thule, we'll go to S tier, just because water doesn't have really good minions, but giving your team a pump almost non-conditionally, unlike Lord of Unland, and charge comes out and does a thing. Self-same is probably one of the better water minions. Copying their big threat or copying your threat and having two of them seems really good. Silence is going to be probably pretty good coming into Arthurian Legends. There's going to be a lot of Genesis effects. There's going to be a lot of extra effects. Silence is going to be very strong. Sneak Thief going into Arthurian Legends might get a little bit better because it's stealing some artifacts, but that 2 power is real rough. It just dies to lightning bolts or incidental damage. And tough to turtles. Going into Arthurian Legends, what is it? Sir Yevon gives this thing plus 2 power. Ooh, yeah. And then Wrath of Sea, top of C tier. It doesn't do damage. It's just a board wipe sometimes, not all the time. I'm talking myself out of it. Bottom of C tier. It's 7 cost for sometimes board wiping, whereas like Poison Nova is 90% a board wipe. All right, moving on to sites. Aqueduct I'll use as just all the dual lands. The dual lands are great. The threshold you get from them, the fixing, very good. Battlefield right now doesn't do a whole lot, but maybe it gets better with Arthurian Legends. Bedrock is a great site. You can't mess with it, and it's good into roots. Bottomless Pit, I would say top of A tier. The prison fortress kind of decks are really good with this, especially in Avatar of Air. Push minions onto it. It's really good. Cloud City, the free movement you get is huge. Crossroads is a linchpin in any site kind of game plan. The towers, I feel like, are S tier. The ability to come down, give you an extra mana, huge. Donningbrook Inn, kind of bad right now, but maybe with Camelot, you get a double discount on your mortals, unique mortals. But with the thresholds, maybe something happens. Floodplain is a great water site. Ability to get 2 threshold off of the one site, it's huge. Free City is very similar to Bottomless Pit. The free defense you get off of it's really good. Gnome Hollows is a good. It's good, but it forces you into a play style that maybe you don't want to be in, or it forces your deck choice. But I think villages are pretty good. The ability to come down, give you some board presence, something on the board is really strong. Protects you for a turn. Island Leviathan is a really good water control finishing card. Mirror Realm is huge. It's anything. It's whatever you need at the point that's on the board. It's a little awkward in the early game, but Mirror Realm is really, really good. Observatory, smoothing out your draws, can't be understated. Now you have 3 turns of information you can make decisions off of, so that's very good. Pillars of Zaros is the incidental life gain is huge. It's just a utility land. If you're not in Earth, just put Pillars of Zaros, and if you can afford a non-threshold site, think of it as a utility land. Quagmire, probably A tier. The ability to lock down your opponent for a turn is really, really strong. Desert, right below a village, maybe above village. I'm not sure. This is go back and forth. The extra ping is bigger than you think. Rift Valley to break up their game plan, wiggle your way in. It's almost a summoning sphere. I was talking to Roaring Turkey. Using Rift Valley like a summoning sphere is very strong, and then you don't have to play summoning sphere. And summoning sphere is the worst when you draw 2 or 3 of them. River of Flame. Infiltrate River of Flame is really good. Right now, I don't feel like there's enough River of Flame spells to be played that you can't do with your avatar. Roots of Yggdrasil will just put that there at the top because that's the best site right now. Sinkhole, Play more sinkholes. Sinkholes on your third site, play a 3-drop, blow up their second site. They're on turn 2 again. You time walk them. Sinkhole is very strong. Smokestacks, it's going to get better. More good sites, the better smokestacks gets. The river, probably bottom of B tier. The scry is nice, but it doesn't give you any board presence, so it kind of gets hurt there. Geistwood, probably A tier somewhere. You have to really play sacrifice effects to make Geistwood really good. Your opponent just won't attack Geistwood. And Updraft Ridge, I think, is probably a really underplayed site. If you're playing Airborne, you play Updraft Ridge forward, left, or like one side above. You can attack wherever you want. The extra movement on Airborne is really, really strong. All right, thank you, everybody. These are just some quick thoughts I had going into Arthurian Legends, kind of like make a record of where the card pool stands right now. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.